This video is part of Making Missouri, a year-long look at the 200th anniversary of Missouri statehood. And this month, we're focusing on the landscape and how we've made use of the land. And I'm here to explore Missouri's mining legacy. It may be hard to imagine it now, but the abandoned buildings behind me are what is left of what was once the largest plant of its type in the world. And where I'm standing, over 1,000 people a day once passed through on their way to work. I'm at Missouri Mines State Park, and this is what remains of Federal Mill No. 3, built in 1906, and it was used to process lead and zinc ore that was mined nearby. In popular culture, most people maybe think of Kentucky and West Virginia when they think about our country's mining history. Or maybe they think about those that rushed to California and Alaska in search of gold. But mining is a major part of Missouri's history, equal to farming and the fur trade when it comes to our place in world history. And it helped create the economy that made our territory desirable as a state. Missouri Mines State Park is about an hour outside of St. Louis. It is surrounded by towns with names that tell the story of one of Missouri's first and most important industries, mining. Names like Steelville, Cobalt, Irondale, Ironton, Leadington, and even simpler, the town of Old Mines. Federal Mill No. 3 and others nearby were served by over 1,000 miles of underground operations, and tens of thousands of people worked in the mines. This area, stretching across southeastern and into central Missouri, is known as the Lead Belt. And while most mining operations here have been quiet for over half a century, Missouri is still one of the world's largest sources of lead. And for those that aren't sure what lead is used for, today we use it to make things like car batteries, roofs, statues, and ammunition. We're also a major exporter of limestone, barite, granite, and zinc, and even coal. Did you know that Missouri was the first state west of the Mississippi to mine coal commercially? Over 350 years ago, early French explorers started to arrive in the area that would later become Missouri. And while each had their own reasons for making the journey, many of them came in passionate search of riches. Some hoped those riches would come from above ground, from the animals that could be used in the fur industry. And some hoped they would come from under their feet in the form of gold and silver, just like the Spanish were finding in Mexico and South America. As with many things though, the thing you think you're looking for actually leads you to something far better. In the search for silver and gold, the explorers, initially disappointed, instead found deposits of lots of minerals, including copper, silica, tin, some gold and some silver, but most importantly, they found lead and iron. And while the fur trade would definitely bring money to many, the mineral mining industry is what brought people to settle here, to create towns and farms around the mines, and to create roads that would carry the materials to market, roads that are still used today by Missourians. Native peoples used some of these materials for tools, weapons, and paint. And while the French developed the first mines here, it was people from England and Central Europe that settled here, people from mining-based cultures in the Old World. In fact, some of the early mining communities were set up just as they had been since the European Middle Ages, only instead of feudal lords, mines were governed by wealthy landowners, and some mining settlements included enslaved people. It was this industry that brought slavery to the Missouri Territory. In the early days, mining was done by a miner digging an individual hole and taking what he could from it, and then digging another hole and another. And it wasn't until machinery was introduced that the true scale of the mineral deposits was realized, when they could start going much deeper. Because of this early method of digging, many early mining settlements were actually called diggins instead of town or village. In the 21st century, the mining industry is more mechanized than ever, and mining companies do not own entire towns anymore. But mining is still a large part of Missouri's economy, not just here in the Lead Belt, but in several other regions throughout the state. As you can see, while the French explorers that came through this area didn't find their riches in shiny gold and silver, they found more wealth than they could have imagined in the rocks beneath their feet. Thank you to our members and donors and the ZMD Tax District. Check out our website and our social media channels to find more content from this project.